All these people that give birth to children abandon them. They're going to give accounts because that is a spirit that you have released from heaven. Marriage is the holy place where it is legally permitted for you to take spirits from heaven and bring on the face of the earth. I try not to be controversial, but the devil is God's child because God made him. Who made the devil? Did he just grow up from the ground and say, I am the devil, I have come? No, God made him. So it's God's child. It's God's creation. And that's why God found it repulsive to start fighting the devil. So that's why he made us. You shouldn't have a son that stops you from doing the will of God. So that comes to the people that give birth and all of a sudden they can't pray. All of a sudden they don't do anything again. They say it's the child that you gave me that they allow me. You're also telling God that the spirit you released is a hindering spirit. Every special edition of the SOS always comes with something new, something fresh, something remarkable, something sublime, and this is not any different. And we believe strongly that as you join this broadcast, you will be able to participate even though you were not part of the people in the studio, because it's very interactive. It's going to bring you answers to questions you don't even have an idea is bothering your heart. So I want to take you to the studio where you'll join the people that joined us at the studio to present this edition of SOS Special to you. Thank you. What's the second one?
So what is the primary reason for getting married?
The primary reason for marriage is to make sure that you fulfill the will of God on the face of the earth. When God gave Adam, because there's a place in Malachi that said God brought man and woman together to produce a holy seed. Now, that is a prophetic picture of Jesus because it's the only holy seed. If Adam and Eve did not sin, they would have been given birth to Jesus-like kind of person. That's the seed that will come out of it will have not had any taint or DNA of sin. That's the seed that will have come. So that is the original plan. And that is also achievable. You just have to do it by training. And that's why it was in Malachi. Because you see, the beginning of Malachi, he spoke about the prophet that God is bringing. But the first thing he said is that he's going to restore the heart of fathers to son, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Where there is no fatherhood and leadership, curses are always going to abound. But that is by the way. Then he went ahead to now say, you bring your wife together, both of you should produce a holy seed. Now, if you are looking at it in modern terms, I would say God expects that when you have a child, ultimately, you should raise that child in the way God wants you to raise the child. Now, how many parents do that? I tell people at times that it looks like because you are saying that there's more problem for those that have than those that don't have. Because you're going to give account of how you raise those children. All these people that give birth to children abandon them. They're going to give account. Because that is a spirit that you have released from heaven. That is the second reason for that scripture. A holy seed. Marriage is the holy place where it is legally permitted for you to take spirits from heaven and bring on the face of the earth. That's why sexual sins are really an issue for God. Especially, there are many aspects of sexual sins, but the fornication part itself, where you have coitus and there is sleeping with one another, is actually dangerous. Because if you don't get pregnant, I don't want to use the word you are lucky. I want to say, hey, maybe mercy. Because what you are doing is you are tempting the hand of God. You are forcing God's hand before time to release a spirit. Because our coming together produces a body, but God is the one that puts the spirit. Demons too can also put spirit. People go to devils and they get children. So that I answer that one as part. Because people say, okay, so when they get born again, maybe they say the child came from the devil. No, because God is the father of all spirits, including the devil himself. There is still access. The entire book of Job is not predicated only on Job, also to tell us that the devil has access to God on our matter. That's why Jesus became our advocate and our intercessor, because the accuser of our brethren is permanently there. God made him. Is people, I've never said that before because I don't want people to always, I try not to be controversial, but the devil is God's child because God made him. It may look heretic, but if you sit down and ask yourself, who made the devil? Did he just grow up from the ground and say, I am the devil, I have come? No, God made him. So he's God's child. He's God's creation. And that's why God found it repulsive to start fighting the devil. So that's why he made us. The devil was never a replacement for Jesus. The devil and Jesus are not at the same level. The devil is not the opposite of Jesus. No. So that's why God said, I will make people that look so foolish, weak, and can't do anything, then I'll put power within them. Then they'll be the one dealing with you. So that every time you remember, you will know that you don't mess with your boss. You know, it's just like you are arguing with your boss, you try to show you know, and it's the one that does transfer. You know, you can transfer it to a department. That when you are done, after 3 months, you come back and say, Father, I've sinned against everyone, and I'm worthy to be called your son. Forgive me, restore me back to my office. I don't want this place you have sent me. Oh, all right, ready for me? Yes, this is me inviting you to the Advantage Conference this year 2024. It's going to be a great time in God's presence. We have it every year. This year we are focusing on the covenant, a covenanted life that God has promised us. A covenant compliant life is what God's children should enjoy, and we look forward to receiving you either on ground or online through any of our live stream channels. Find the details about the conference and every other thing, including the registration, below, as we look forward to you registering, and we look forward to receiving you. God bless you. Now let's go back to the question that we were answering before this interview. Thank you, and God bless you. So that is it. It's a serious matter, releasing children. So that's why I believe strongly. Me and my wife coming together, you and your husband coming together, is to fulfill the will of God on the face of the earth, a divine assignment that God has given you. If my wife is not supporting me, no matter how much I try, it will still always show. The stress will be there. Any home that is not settled, the stress will be there. In fact, we ended up with 3, even though I was preaching somewhere and I said my 3 children long before we even had the 3rd one. But the period the 3rd one came it's not this period. Now, you know I love him. Nothing will happen to him, but it's not this period in my mind. And it took me a long time to settle that, because that was not part of my plan. This period, I don't want any child. I want to travel now. I want my wife to follow me. I have to consider the child. And if she's not following me, she's like, oh, she's missing out and all that. And I'll keep telling, I can't pause my destiny because I have a child. So I know God is going to ask me. So that's why you have to make the sacrifice. You have to stay with the child. And when he gets heated, I'll say, well, you said you wanted a 3rd one. She said, you too, you preached that you had a 3rd one. I said, that way, you wanted it, so you will stay with it. But you can't say, I don't love my son. There's no way you can say that. But the truth of the matter is, you shouldn't have a son that stops you from doing the will of God. So that comes to the people that give birth, and all of a sudden they can't pray. All of a sudden they don't do anything again. They say, it's the child that you gave me that didn't allow me. You're also telling God that the spirit you released is a hindering spirit. So God bringing man and woman together is to make sure that whatever he wants us to do on the face of the earth, we are able to do it. When we have children, is to support and guarantee a continuance. That's why I told them, says, I don't know about everybody. Say, well, I know Abraham. All these things is doing, and I'm telling him, is practicing, is going to teach his children when the time is right, so that they can be continuous, because God also is generational. So it's not necessarily that having a child is bad. That's why I say it's not the primary reason. It's a secondary thing. Because people are breaking their own because they didn't have a child. Yet there are some callings that you can't really fulfill if you have a family. Not even talking about a child, if you are married. Not talk if you have a child. Oh yes, if Stephen was married, do you think Paul will find forgiveness? Even if I'm preaching every day to the wife of Stephen, let's say it's not church. Say, now, it used to be Saul then. It was Saul that killed the husband. This is why we play with words. Name of Revelation. Say it was Saul that killed the husband. This is Paul now. Let it go. Do you think it will be easy for her? Every time they come together, say, let's lift our hands, and he's beside him, or he says he's preaching. Even Sister Church is already looking at me like this. The kind of bad I'm going to be giving him. So, and that kind of thing. So it's easy for somebody like that to just do his calling. I'm not saying marriage will slow you down or marriage will be against your calling. There are still some callings too you can't do well if you don't marry. So it goes from people to people. I know some of these kind of messages are not really common or popular anymore. But if you are going to do well, okay, let's say I married in 2007 that I married. 1st of December or so. Then Christmas celebrate. Then January 2, I tell my wife that I'm going to Iraq. That the Lord said I should go to Iraq. The first thing will be like, hey, bros, we did not talk this one together. Then it's okay. Am I following you? I said, well, it's your choice. It's all that. But my parents don't want me to die without a child. So I will impregnate you. Then I will go. She will just be like, it's like something is doing you upside down. So many missionaries, their wives, if they don't receive the same conviction, it's always difficult for them. There are some we support, and I know what they are going through. I know what they are going through in terms of, because now they have children, they will look at other people's children, look at their children in the villages or the suburbs that they are not developed. They are probably the ones tutoring their children and all that. And when they see Facebook once in a while, they come to town, they see their mates. Those kind of things, we make it may look easy when you read it, but when you're experiencing it, it's not the same thing. So that is what I believe. That's what I understood it from scriptures. So I believe we should believe God to have a child. But if God doesn't give you a child, you can't say that your marriage is not successful. There's human beings that are saying that. God is not saying that. After all, somebody had 9 children, and the 9 children gathered together to kill him because they couldn't wait again. They needed to enjoy their life, and they're sitting on their money. The will, the insurance, the life insurance, the what they call that one now, trust fund, is all conditioned on the fact that is when it's dead. So let's help you. So if that one if God doesn't give that one a child, he may not know that God is preventing him from a lot of things. So these things, there's really no one way to look at it. So I always default to the Bible. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.